In 2008, the ending of the first Iron Man sparked the beginning of the Marvel Cinematic Universe as we know it today with 4 little words.
I am Iron Man.
This line is famous for being improvised by Robert Downey Jr. himself. The MCU has been built on a foundation of talented directors putting their trust in equally talented actors to shape their characters and stories. This use of improv has resulted in some of the funniest and most iconic moments in the MCU. Let's look at some of the best scenes in Phase 4 that you didn't know were improvised. I think most people can agree that the best part of Black Widow was Natasha Romanoff's extended family. You've got Hopper from Stranger Things as Red Guardian, Evelyn from The Mummy as Melina Romanov, but the breakout star was Florence Pugh as Yelena Belova. Everyone remembers her mocking the superhero landing from the trailers, but her best moment was, you guessed it, improvised. After Natasha and Yelena break out Red Guardian from prison, there was an unsavory joke in the script where Red Guardian makes a joke about Yelena being on her period. The director, Kate Shortland, almost cut that exchange entirely. But upon shooting the scene, Yelena claps back with, "I don't get my period, dip. I don't have a uterus." That's what happens when the Red Room gives you an involuntary hysterectomy.
They kind of just go in and they rip out the
Okay,
babies.
you don't have to get so clinical and nasty.
Oh.
This comeback was excellent and is easily the #1 reason why Yelena is an MCU fan favorite. To quote Kate Shortland, "If you're gonna make that joke, I'm gonna unleash Florence Pugh on you." No Way Home is the perfect love letter to Spider-Man, featuring every actor who played the character on the big screen and a villain from each of Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield's movies. As you would expect, Willem Dafoe and Alfred Molina got to recite their incredibly mimetic lines. But there was another amazing Spider meme that you might have missed. As our heroes put their brains together to help cure the villains, Ned tries to get Peter's attention. That's right, the classic pointing Spider-Man meme from the 60s cartoon. You might think that this was always the plan, but it turns out that it was the brainchild of none other than Andrew Garfield himself. Now, this does beg the question, which movie did this better? No Way Home or Into the Spider-Verse? Falcon and the Winter Soldier finally gave the MCU's best couple, Sam Wilson and Bucky Barnes, the screen time that they had been long denied. And, like any happy couple, they've got to go through couples counseling. Episode 2 finds our heroes engaged in therapy with Dr. Christina Rayner, played by Amy Aquino, which employs a soul-gazing exercise where our heroes lock legs and stare into each other's eyes longingly. And these two are goals. This scene was barely scripted, too. Aquino stated in an interview with Entertainment Weekly that Anthony Mackie and Sebastian Stan locking legs was entirely improvised. Just two guys being dudes working out their innermost feelings.
Thanks, Doc, for making it weird. I feel much better.
Actually, I wonder if these two had beef in real life and just used the shoot as a chance to vent. You never really know what's going on behind the scenes. Now, let's keep that bromance train a-rolling. One of the best parts of Loki was the titular character's friendship with Owen Wilson's Mobius. Everything about their relationship and how they came to trust one another felt so organic, and that's in part due to the incredible talent of both actors and their mutual understanding of their characters. A pivotal scene in Episode 2 follows Mobius berating Loki for being his lovable, arrogant self as they board an elevator, admonishing him for letting a Loki variant they were pursuing escape. Loki brings on the bluster, stating that Mobius and the TVA were unprepared to capture a Loki. But Mobius manages to turn this arrogance on Loki in order to motivate him to take his role in the TVA more seriously.
And you kind of feel bad for that Ice Runt.
The interplay between the two in this exchange is entirely unscripted. From Mobius calling Loki an Ice Runt to Loki fixing Mobius's tie to try and take him down a peg. Tom Hiddleston described this 2-minute war of one-upmanship as a great little tennis match. And now I need these two to be reunited so they can play tennis while riding jet skis. Actually, why hasn't the MCU tried the sports movie genre yet? That'd be awesome! The very next episode of Loki features our hero Loki and his nemesis/variant/love interest Sylvie stuck on a moon called Lamentus 1 in the year 2077. In an attempt to evade the planet's imminent destruction, our duo steals some guard uniforms and board an evacuation train. Like all good escape vessels, it features a fully stocked bar. Sylvie takes a nap, while our Loki takes part in a bit of civilized Asgardian revelry as he slurps some space cocktails and gets the whole dining car singing and swinging. As his song reaches its peak, he downs a drink and demands another.
Another!
This is a callback to one of Chris Hemsworth's best bits in the original Thor, where he does the exact same with a poor innocent coffee mug.
This drink, I like it.
I know, it's great, right?
Another!
This moment was completely improvised by Tom Hiddleston, and just further proves that Thor and Loki were brothers even if one of them was adopted. And I still can't believe that No Way Home exists. Everyone gushes over the back-cracking scene, and they're right to. But not enough people mention MJ hawking a loaf of bread at Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man to check if he's got the tingle, aka spider sense. And that wasn't in the script either. Zendaya just really wanted to throw bread at Andrew Garfield. And really, who wouldn't? Me. I wouldn't. That's just rude, and it's a waste of bread. He really should have caught that. The 5-second rule definitely expired. Hawkeye's 5th episode brought co-star Kate Bishop head-to-head with Yelena, who's on the hunt for Clint Barton. This dinner scene is easily one of the best moments in the whole show. Just an incredibly human scene with Yelena admonishing Kate for only owning one fork and Kate chucking a bottle of hot sauce at Yelena's head. Real sibling energy there. Now, despite having a clear outline for the scene, the whole exchange in Kate's apartment came entirely from the actors' chemistry with one another. The directors were actually worried that Florence Pugh couldn't handle all the hot sauce that she was dumping into the mac and cheese, but it turns out she can't get enough of it. The action-packed finale of Moon Knight was full of twists and turns, particularly a fight between the titular character and a horde of cultists that abruptly cuts to black, and then returns to normal, revealing that all the bad guys have been taken out. The audience's confusion is shared by our heroes, as this type of editing only takes place when Mark is switching between his personalities. But that shouldn't be happening, since the only other personality of his we've seen, Stephen Grant, was left behind in the sands of Duat in the previous episode. This strange turn of events isn't addressed until the finale's post-credits scene, where Arthur Harrow is discharged from a mental institution with little context as to how he arrived there. He's brought into a limousine with the license plate SPKTR, and who could be waiting within but Khonshu himself? But he's not driving the car. That would be Oscar Isaac playing Mark Spector's other personality, Jake Lockley. What's more unexpected than Khonshu ordering Jake to terminate Arthur Harrow on the spot is that Jake seemingly only speaks in Spanish.
Hoy te toca perder.
Now, this trait isn't inherent to the comic character, but rather Oscar Isaac using his own Latino background to add a unique flavor to this already incredibly unique character. It seems fitting to follow up multiple Oscar Isaacs with multiple Spider-Men. Tom Holland's Peter Parker was put through the emotional ringer, and I know we all cried a little or a lot when Tobey Maguire showed up through Ned's portal. But for some, it's everything Andrew Garfield's character went through that absolutely made the movie for them. The man put his all into a film series that never let his character reach its fullest potential, and it ended with him failing to save the woman he loved. We learn that he became so full of self-hatred for failing to save Gwen, and he thinks that he is the worst of our wall-crawling warriors. And that is what makes it so uplifting when Toby and Tom's Peter Parkers tell him to quit it with the self-loathing, and unlike his movies, he is amazing. This fosters a brotherly love in Garfield's Peter that comes out in the only way it can.
I love you guys.
And that was all Garfield's idea, right off the cuff. I know people are clamoring for Sony to make Amazing Spider-Man 3, but honestly, this was the perfect way for him to go out. Thor: Love and Thunder is currently out in theaters, and if Ragnarok was anything to go by, its funniest moments are a result of the actors just having incredible chemistry. And indeed, that is the case. Natalie Portman and Tessa Thompson have stated that their funniest scene was entirely improvised, born out of the friendship they have fostered, get it, on and off set. Unfortunately, the movie is so new that we don't know for certain which scene they're talking about. Taika and friends have been very open that the original cut for Love and Thunder was over 4 hours long, with countless cuts that in another timeline would have completely changed the story had they been used instead. It looks like the Blu-ray for Love and Thunder is going to have some of the most interesting deleted scenes out of any Marvel movie. Now, if this video proves anything, it's that the actors who embody the heroes of the Marvel Cinematic Universe are where the soul of the MCU gets its foundation from. In these human moments, it truly feels like these characters, their bonds, and their hardships are real. We would love if you shared your favorite improvised moments in the MCU.